Alrighty then, it's time for a Jungle Jarvan game. Let's get the show on the road. It's been quite a while since I had a Jarvan game, so Big Daddy is back. So, I haven't played Jarvan mostly because the recent changes, well not recent anymore, but the changes to the jungle really did hurt him. And a lot of the jungle matchups that exist right now are not in his favor. He is by no means bad. He's not the lowest tier, but if you were to have like a jungle tier list right now, he'd probably be middling. He's still strong in what he wants to do, but there's a lot of weaknesses that he has that keeps him from being a choice you even want to make. You know, essentially, there are a lot more viable and meta champions right now than him. Also, essentially, the fact that Jarvan is really slow at farming in this new sort of jungle meta that relies on you farming a ton is pretty bad. You'll see the farm difference between me and Nocturne as the game progresses. Keep an eye on it, how bad it gets. Anyways, I was able to get 2 ganks on the enemy Jax because since teleport got nerfed, everyone just kind of doesn't take it anymore. So it makes it very easy to set up ganks against them and, you know, easily kill them. So that whole nerfing the early jungle aggression thing is kind of nullified. Also, I want to mention the matchup between Jarvan and Nocturne. Although right now here, you can see that Nocturne got a little bit too ambitious and burned his flash trying to kill me, which ends up resulting in him getting killed because the nest is actually bothered to show up. Also, he does have Guardian, which is funny because I know he didn't intend to take it, but it has saved his ass twice so far, so hooray for us. But yeah, the Nocturne matchup, the Jarvan Nocturne matchup is greatly in Nocturne's favor. I could theoretically nuke him down if I get really, you know, if he stays glass cannon and I get some ass destruction power going. But in most cases, he should be able to deal with me rather easily. In fact, most champions who get on top of you, like Lee Sin, Jungle Jax, Jungle Nocturne, they get on top of you and then they give you the, you know, the death of 1,000 cuts kind of thing going. Easily, humongous advantage over Jarvan. It's pretty bad. It's pretty defining as to why right now Jarvan isn't the greatest. And also the champions like Graves sort of fit this motif too. And yeah, right here I get absolutely destroyed by the Zed. So my build this game is going as Destroyer, because if you look at the enemy team composition, at least when I was deciding on the build, I thought, you know, I could EQ in and destroy somebody important and then that's it. You know, if they focus me, the rest of my team should be able to clobber them, and they don't have the type of initiation to just pick me off, except, you know, maybe a good Fiddlesticks Flash ultimate. But, you know, I just figured nuking them down would have been the best choice. However, I forgot several key factors, and you're going to see them bite me in the ass. Fiddlesticks is a thing, and his Q can if he times it well, can easily stop my combo, you know, quickly enough before I get to destroy somebody. By the way, I love the fact that I got to use my flag twice for a Q. If you guys don't remember, that's kind of like a fetish of mine for Jarvan. If I can throw a flag and in 2 different angles, still use it to get a knock-up, I love that. I fucking love that. And I managed to do that again. Anyways, I underestimated the fear being able to stun me out of my combo. 2, the fact that they went hourglasses, or they're gonna go hourglasses. They did have the stopwatch, so my combo against bottom lane is just effectively nullified. Zed is pretty difficult to kill as Jarvan if he knows how to use his shadows properly to dodge your ultimate. And then Nocturne, if he times his W correctly, he can just, you know, survive your knockup and then eat you alive. So I regret going pure glass cannon, although in some ways it will start working out, you will see. If I were to pick a different build, it would obviously be, you know, taking the Bruiser one, Cinder Hulk, Titanic Hydra, although sometimes just going for Steric's Gauge instead, or Trinity Force if I get pretty big. But usually just getting that in Dead Man's Plate and going for the burst. But also something like Maul Mortius is thrown in there every now and then. But yeah, here I'm just waiting for the counter gank, and this is kind of what really sucks. My farm is falling behind because Jarvan, if I were to be farming, I'd be really slow anyways. And I know I need to set up myself up for a counter gank because my lanes are getting sort of punished by, well, their own opponents. And Nocturne's ultimate is just allowing him to basically annihilate my teammates and allow himself to get a snowball. Again, the difference between power between me and him right now is disgusting. And there you go, the hourglass essentially nullifying my combo, which ends up putting me in a position where Zed is able to easily pick me off. So yeah, it's not going so well for me. I'm pretty behind in farm. 48 farm difference, that's pretty grim. 48 farm difference. And well, now 52. Quite a bit of, I believe it's 2 level difference. Item difference is obviously gross, and he's got more kills than me, although I do have quite a bit of assists. It's just, this is not the only Jarvan game I decided to play, and in every single game it's kind of the same thing. Even if I get a few kills early on into the game, Jarvan's just natural farming weakness just doesn't allow me to, to maintain the momentum due to these changes. And, a lot of jungle opponents exist out there that who can easily counter gank me or make my life hell, so I start falling behind. However, come mid-game, if my team hasn't fully fallen apart, and I'm sort of able to catch up due to just, proximity gold or, allowing myself to catch up through other means, the build, whatever build I take starts shining through. In this case, now that I have just warrior, you can see how much damage I can do. I have to make sure to keep that up with more and more items, or else I fall behind greatly, but you get my drift, I think, right? But yeah, this game is pretty even in terms of kills. Gold-wise, I figured in the, since I couldn't see the replay, I had figured they had way more gold than us. Especially considering how, I'm not sure which one of them are dual queuing, but it looks very much like they have communication going down there and they're able to catch us off guard. Or at the very least, Nocturne is paying very good attention to the map and it's just always there in the right spots. And that's pretty grim for us. They've gained control over jungle. As you've seen, they've already taken my red a few times. And my teammates and I are a little bit unprepared to deal with anything right now. The Kaiser is essentially opening an African buffet, feeding the enemy team constantly. Although to her, to her credit, I don't think it's completely her fault. She did get absolutely camped, and her lane was a frustration kind of level gank, or I mean lane. Here I tried going for a cheesy kill on the fiddlestick since I still had my combo up, but I got punished really hard with the Nocturne, so that was my hubris getting the best of me. 3-5 and 7, not the best Jarvan spread. And I know I've said this before, in that if you're going for, if you're falling behind, you might want to go with a more tanky build, right? But I figured at this point, since I'm almost fully invested into the damage build, and I could kill somebody if I get them before they use any of the defensive abilities, I might as well keep going for this. If it was a different kind of composition, I would have abandoned this a while back and decided to go with a more tankier build. In their case, Deadman's Play very quickly, or Randuin's Omen, even though Randuin's Omen would not work fully on everybody. But yeah, like the Heimerdinger kill that you saw me get a little bit ago, that one's what encouraged me to maintain this build. Guardian Angel being super important for me to get, although normally I wouldn't buy Guardian Angel so early as my third item, and on other champions maybe I've been known to buy that on like Nocturne as my third item, but on Jarvan I'd rather just go with more efficiency and more more gold efficiency, since you could normally not farm all that well. So I would probably have gone with a Ghost Blade usually, but because of how easily I'm dying, and because getting that stopwatch might be pretty good, I decided to go with the Guardian Angel. I mean, I haven't built it yet, but you see I'm trying to get there. But look at the farm difference between the Nocturne and me. Yes, he's getting some lane farm too. He's definitely getting my jungle farm and his jungle farm. But the difference would have been still there even if he wasn't so far ahead. Just the matchup, or at least in this meta, the matchup between Jarvan and all these farmers is so disgusting. But either way, you can see the Kaiser's just constantly being picked off. There's not much we can do for her, and just kind of pray that she, that she's able to survive long enough for Nasus to, or at least we're able to maintain ourselves long enough for Nasus to get super big and become the godly raid boss he, is supposed to be. But yeah, this game is starting to trail off at that point where my team really can't do anything except try to farm and maintain these towers as long as possible, because any team fight would just kind of lead to Zed annihilating someone important, or the Kaiser. Then the Zyra also died, but we got a Fiddlesticks, hooray! And then you can see just how ineffective the rest of us are at really fighting without the Nasus. Now, I kind of like that. I like the fact that Nocturne went gung-ho on the Orianna for some reason and got killed, so there's all that, I really bounty gold. So, pretty sad. So, thankfully, the Nasus is doing well, and the Orianna is doing well, and their combination can, help us turn the tide around. Go to Orianna ultimate with the Nasus running around unchecked. It's just going to guarantee us a victory. Also love that Fiddlesticks just kind of walks in here and, gets CC down and absolutely annihilated. And then he flashes anyways, although he calls out her ultimate. Then we give chase to the Nocturne here. I use my flash ultimate, trap him inside, but I trapped the Nessus outside too after I had used my hourglass to try to survive, or my stopwatch, I mean. But then you can tell at this point that the enemy team is in a bad situation. Sure, Zed did burn a lot of abilities, but you can see the little bit of damage that Zed and the Nocturne did to the Nessus. And even here, when Heimerdinger joined in, the fact that he survived such a beating and it just annihilated them. Essentially put, we have a time bomb ticking and they're failing to turn it off or stop the fuse or whatever the metaphor calls for. So, I get if this was a book, this would be chapter 3, you know, the turning of the tide kind of situation. Now that I have my guardian angel, I'm a little bit more brave. I go in, catch the fiddlesticks, and he decides to you know focus on me, even though he can't really do any damage, and he gets killed for that. Nocturne goes in all gung ho for some reason in a really bad spot. Thankfully, he has the stopwatch for his case, but he ends up getting picked off rather easily. I mean, they only get a Kaiser, which at this point is worthless, and Nash is able just to sort of run in there alongside having us, you know, backing him up, killing the Heimerdinger, and then Zed comes in closer and gets himself absolutely annihilated. They failed to stop Giga Boss Nasus, and now they're going to pay the price for that. Essentially now, it has equalized the game. So hooray for us. At this point, I forgot what other item I was thinking of purchasing. I think I do buy a Hex Drinker in this case, just for the little bit of a tankiness without giving up too much of the damage. And I would say the itemization at this point for my team is pretty solid. I don't know about Kaiser, but I don't play Kaiser that much. The enemy team, on the other hand, their lack of tank is going to basically do them in. The Fiddlesticks gets annihilated. Nocturne goes in against the Zyra with everything he basically had, which was a huge mistake because she's not worth his life at this point. I think, despite the fact that he did well in the early and the mid game, he's sort of showing he's getting a little too greedy. Him going that gung-ho for the Zyra causes death, which allows us to farm more with security and, you know, not get a little too crazy. And essentially, it was just not worth it. Zed goes in, he survives, and, you know, walks off because, you know, it's Zed. But yeah, I buy the Hex Drinker, like I said, just to deal with a little bit of magic damage that I will be getting dealt with by the Heimerdinger and the Fiddlesticks, and just getting the bits of damage. What the enemy team needs to do is focus on killing off the Orianna, backing up and controlling the Nasus until his ultimate is gone, and then beating him to death. Making sure that Jax does not die anywhere during that point, because he's the only one who will be able to probably stand up to Nasus at this point. So, keep Jax alive, or at least let him farm a little bit more so he can actually contest the Nasus, and make sure, you know, you kill someone important like the Orianna. This Nocturne keeps focusing on the Kaiser, and even though, you know, it's easy kills and whatnot, it's a lot to be wasted. I chase after the Nocturne because my team can possibly handle the others with just, you know, the Nasus and the Orianna. And they managed to steal the Baron with an Orianna ultimate, I believe. And then the rest of them just sort of fall apart. Their biggest threat is the Nocturne. And I kept him busy long enough or distracted long enough that he couldn't really commit to the fight because he had burned his ultimate, which allowed Nasus and Orianna just to clean them up because they are considerably stronger than the rest of the enemy team. You know, they have very few reliable means of controlling the Nasus, and the only real two threats to killing him are the Nocturne and the Jax, and delete one of them, the stronger one of them at the moment, and he's just going to run amok. So hooray for, I guess, bad ideas, or at least not paying much attention and severely underestimating the wrath of Nasus. I guess they thought they could kill it without needing Nocturne, but again, we got the Baron off of that, and essentially kind of seals the deal. We're purchasing our last items, grouping up, trying to get every little bit we can, and we can't see it here, but I believe we were discussing about just pushing down mid with Nasus pushing top, even though he doesn't have teleport. Because if they send two people on top of him, and if it's the Nocturne and like probably the Zed, he'll probably kill both of them, and then the rest of us will clean up the rest of them. And in fact, that's actually what happens. The Nasus basically annihilated both of them. I catch the Nocturne here as he tries to escape, you know, butt slap him. Zed tries to run away, but, you know, he's basically caught in between all of us, and we easily pick him off. Kaiser gets a second kill, thus resetting our gold. And with them two dead, we're essentially able to just to sort of pile driver them. They got no real defense at this point. I flash over, and knock the Jarvan, then the Jax, and then trap the Heimerdinger, killing him, and that's pretty much it. The Fiddlesticks can't do much, and the rest of them are still dead. So that Baron call was really bad, and just in fact ignoring the Nassus altogether was a really bad thing. So hooray for Jarvan, and hooray for Nassus. Thank God Daddy's back. Whee! And if you liked this video, remember to give it a like. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, make sure to hit the little bell up there somewhere so you actually get notifications to my videos, because YouTube and stuff.